Hey, good morning, everybody. Hello, how are you? If you haven't seen the trigger warnings, please look for that particular live stream or video and click on it. It's got all the disclaimers, all the small print. If you feel me there, what am I doing here? Today, we are about to talk about my only Tuesday topic, Sebastain Wayne Drake Rogers, missing autistic teen out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. There are some bad posters out there. Here's one particular. It says last seen February 26th, 2024. That is indeed false. He was last seen Sunday night on the 25th by his mother, Katie Proudfoot. Bear with me one second. Oh, well, if you don't see me, you don't see me, but it's not important that you see me. It's more important that you hear what I have to say right now. And yes, I typed it out. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything as I covered this today. So bear with me as you see me read, and if I stumble around and get tongue-tied, remember, I'm 67 years old, okay? Well, it's not a challenge, it's fun. And by the way, if you're retired and you're here in the 757 and you want to have some fun with social media, I need some behind-the-scenes people that can help me become even better. So reach out to me if that's you. Listen, today it is the shocking truth as I see it for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. I just feel like this camera's like right in my face. I gotta pull it back just a little bit. Bear with me there. I say hello, serious people, and for those of you who need a little of this and a little of that, welcome. I am SubaruSteve Montgomery, and today I will be talking about the shocking truth as I see it and why the Sebastain Wayne Drake Rogers case is taking a mysterious turn 1 year later. See, this is why I need somebody else here to adjust the camera and assure me that everything is just right. So, why the Sebastain Wayne Drake Rogers is taking a mysterious turn 1 year later. Check this out. I'm going to stay focused now. No more sidetracks. When the screensaver comes on, right? So first I want to talk about your quote of the day. And this I found very interesting. It comes from Glenn Beck, an American conservative political commentator, radio host, and television producer. Radio host and television producer. There was nothing difficult about saying that. But he says it best, all right? Now listen very seriously. Only those afraid of the truth seek to silence debate, intimidate those with whom they disagree, and or slander their ideological counterparts. Did you catch that? So who is afraid of the truth in this case, right? Only those afraid of the truth seek to silence debate. Let's talk about that. So who is afraid of the truth, and who for the last year did their very best, almost flawlessly, to silence debates? And I might add, intimidate social media content creators with supposed lawsuits. No, not me. Heaven forbid. What are you going to do? Sue me for my Social Security? Give me a break. But who is afraid of that? I can give you two possible people's names to the two questions above. Who's afraid of the truth and who for the last year has done their best to silence debates? Guess what? They're married. Yeah. And after several failed marriage attempts, I think this couple has finally learned to keep their mouth shut, at least for a year, right? They did it for a year. Not for fear of divorce, however, for fear of life sentences apart from each other. Or perhaps just doing life, right? The case of Sebastain Rogers. Let me turn around a little bit. I'm looking down, but case of Sebastain Rogers. You know what? I'm supposed to have my earbuds on because I know right now you're probably hearing the computer. Does that mean I start and stop over? No, I'm going to put my earbud in, and we are going to endure because that's called an evolution. The case of Sebastain Wayne Drake Rogers. Most of you know about this young man. He vanished February 25th, not 26th, as I talked about in the beginning, from Hendersonville, Tennessee. The last person to see him alive was his mother, Katie Proudfoot. And she was the last person to see him on the night of the 25th in the home. Okay? I'm sorry, but to me, it's always the last person who saw somebody alive that's probably more than likely that 90, who knows what percent of the time. Anyways,
We quickly covered it over to the morning of the 26th because we didn't want to think that she was the last person to see him alive, but she was. Sorry, getting a little worked up over that. And for over a year, Katie and her husband, Chris Proudfoot, have been hush hush. Yeah, for a whole year, avoiding the news, social media, and others who are trying to find this young man. Where there, he's gone. I'm gonna bring him back up. Come on, come on. There you are. Where you at? Wherever you go, there you are. There you're at. This young man, Sebastain Wayne Drake Rogers, bring him up full screen. You know you're on the Shocking Truth right now, but yeah. And there's controversy regarding the reward, which is why I really don't want to get into that today. Look at last week's Shocking Truth if you want to find out what's going on with the reward money, because there's stuff going on there, and most of you are just glazed over, not even seeing or hearing it. I don't know. I don't get it. So Katie and Chris have been avoiding the news for a full year, right? Well, I was trying to find this young man, was 15 years young, has autism, and according to his stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, who incidentally wasn't there when Sebastain supposedly vanished without a trace, like the TV show, or unlike the TV show, we still have no supposed real clues. I think there's plenty of them. That the young teenager just went poof in the night. House was locked and secure. Poof. No shoes are missing. Never heard whether his glasses were missing or not. That's odd, right? Were his glasses missing? How many pairs did he have? And were they all there? They say no shoes were missing. How do we know that? And if that's true, it's just confusing. Days go by, a couple of weeks, and then Chris and Katie, they flee from the house that Sebastain lives in, where they live in, where if Sebastain finds his way home a day, a 2 week, 3, 4 later, he's only going to find a locked house with nobody home. What's he supposed to do? What would he do had that happened? Would he have gone and knocked on a neighbor's door, or would he have just wandered off? An empty house with no one home. Who does that? For days, for weeks, and now a year later, still living in their RV at various campgrounds around Tennessee and Kentucky and West Virginia and North Carolina. Strange, right? How's this little boy ever going to find his way to his parents if he can't find them at home? And now, all right, check this out. And now, a year later, all of a sudden, Chris and Katie are doing interviews, sharing photos and videos, almost like a staged event with one or two selected content creators releasing a photo a day? What in the hell is up with that? If you're a content creator and you had a file of photos, why didn't you just get them all out there right away? Why being so selective? I'll tell you why. For selfish motives. I'll just leave that at that. A year later, what a nightmare for those who truly love this little boy, even those with guilt and future jail time in their futures. Remember what I said in the beginning? Only those afraid of the truth seek to silence debate, intimidate those they disagree with, or slander their counterparts. Chris, Katie, I challenge you to a debate. If you're afraid of the truth, then we won't debate because you'll silence this. Like everybody else that's trying to reach out to you. Start talking to these content creators. Unless you're still hiding, unless you're still afraid of the truth, right? Never has a statement about a case like this been so true than what Glenn Beck said. I'm telling you. And what has changed in the last year to prompt a sudden about face? Chris and Katie, both prior military, trained and disciplined, process and procedures. What has changed in the last 12 to 13 months that all of a sudden they're ready to start talking to select people and showing a bunch of photos and videos? The green tea video, I love it. Chris acting like he's teaching Sebastain how to ride a bike. It's okay. At least he was out there doing something with the young man, you know? What has changed? After not being arrested in 12 months, confidence levels have to be at an all-time high for them, right? If they're guilty, allegedly, right? With such confidences comes carelessness. Yeah, confidence creates carelessness, such as this sudden release of photos, interviews, and videos. What I see is guilt, in my opinion. Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of you out there see it as well. To stay quiet for a full year and to be so easily readable. Still, the tearful eyes looking up after speaking, and the whole time speaking, looking down. It's kind of like as I talk like this because I know I'm guilty and I didn't do anything, and oh. I was going to say that was my impression of Katie Proudfoot, but it's also my impression of William Shatner going up in space and coming back down. That's a whole nother video. You got to look that up. Shattered by Shatner. Let me get back on this. The nervous fingers, the husband-wife knee tapping during the certain questions, still the same a year later. Yeah, we see it. We see it. We saw it. You can't hide it now. We saw it. We saw how you acted a day, a week, 2 weeks, a month after Sebastain disappeared, and we just saw you do it again. Yeah. I wonder what building projects Chris has knowledge of and the wherewithal to, why did I type? That's a tongue twister for me. I wonder what building projects Chris has knowledge of and the wherewithal to navigate hiding a package in wet cement that a year later has not only hardened, however, an entire building or structure has now been completed and is now occupied by others, further relieving any fear of discovery. Guess what, Chris? Your recent interviews and approved photos and videos are now reviving the online community again. I never thought that possibly you're so confident now because wherever that package is, there's a structure on top. So now we have a whole new area to look at. Chris, thank you for that. I wonder what type of construction stuff that he has purchased in the last 12 months. Bags of cement, mixing bowl, wheelbarrows. That beautiful house, I didn't see a shed. I don't know that he'd have that kind of stuff in that little shed there, but if he had a shed, it'd probably be a riding mower because he certainly isn't pushing a mower in that yard. Nope, nope. And I wonder what is in the back of the RV these days. And has law enforcement, did they ever do a search of that RV a year ago? And for that matter, have we searched the house and RV again a year later? Why haven't we put some new detectives, state, local, and federal, on this case to start reviewing the data and going back and confirming it, seeing what might have been missed, right? And where are the Proudfoots these days? Back at the house? Back at Yogi Bear Trailer Park? Or enjoying warm spring nights at a Wolf Lodge with warm water and warm food and warm days too, you know? Who needs a gym when you'd rather relax, right? And now you don't have a teenager with you. You can really flounder around in the warm air. Yeah, that's the shocking truth as I see it regarding that. I've got 2 things left to share with you real quickly. One, last week, my episode resolved around the presumption that the Proudfoots are innocent. I lost a few viewers, go figure. So I thought I should try again and verbalize that the things I believe to be truthful today could change as more of the real truth is uncovered. I truly try to see things from all sides and thereby provoke your thought. Because me, you, I'll tell you, our combined minds are always greater than any one of our minds. And if I've offended you, know this, my only goal is uncovering the truth as it really is in this case, with so much speculation. We need to keep poking the bear, like Silver's on the scene is out there poking the bushes and digging the ground. We need to keep turning up stuff until we find what we're looking for And that is information leading to finding Sebastain Wayne Drake Rogers and to those guilty in this. The other thing I have, fact of the day, and regarding the finding Sebastain Wayne Drake, there's a reward controversy. The FBI says $50,000. I know that to be factual. The 300 and who knows what from that night, I have a problem with that. And I invite you to look at last week's shocking truth regarding the reward. Here's your fact of the day, and this blows my mind. And this is the third time I'm going to talk on this, but I had to bring it up again because it is so important, because it makes so much sense to me. And if nothing else I've talked about today makes any sense, tell me that this doesn't. Tell me that this doesn't make sense. And help me make it make sense. Do the numbers. If on average 2,300 children go missing every day in the United States, and that's according to AI Google Labs, that is 16,000 children every week. Or 69, you might as well say 70,000 children a month. Can you get your head around that? 16,000 children a week, 70,000 children a month. That's 828,000 children a year are going missing in the United States. How long before this number hits 1 million children a year? 1 million children a year go missing in the United States of America. How can any agency, any law enforcement agency, handle such a heavy load when they're also combating all types of other crimes? Come on. How can any law enforcement agency handle such a load when they're also combating all those other crimes? Think about this. We, the people, not me, the self, we, the people, the group of combined shared knowledge, we need to do something. And that is why I'm advocating this again, the creation of what I would now call the Amber app. We have Amber alerts all across the United States, right? We need an Amber app where every one of us, you don't need to be somebody programming the Amber alert into the highway system. You could be a user that sees the Amber alert in the Amber app, and AI can sift through all the data that we, the people, throw into it, get rid of the junk, and put the good stuff in the trunk for law enforcement. That was a pun. But yeah, this is why I advocate for that. Think about it. Everyone can access, add to, update tips, see factual reward information, see current statuses from law enforcement agencies to include local, state, and federal review. The Amber app. What a great addition to the Amber alerts in our country. Whoever you are, you app creator, think how many children you might save with your app, with the Amber app that you create and put out publicly to everybody to use to save children, to help shut down child trafficking in the United States of America, to help take a number that's fast going to become 1 million children. Let's drive that number down to less than 100,000 a year. 1 million a year. What is going on, America? Whoever you are, step up and let's get this going. If I can help you, let me know. That's the shocking truth as I see it today, March 25th, 2025. And my question to you is, what is the shocking truth to you as you see it when it comes to Sebastain Wayne Drake Rogers and others in this case? Thanks for tuning in. If you're not a subscriber, I invite you to subscribe. I try to give away stuff different days during the week. It's not about me. It's truly about him every Tuesday. With so many children going missing every day, I've committed every Tuesday while he's missing to him. It's the best I can do for all the children because each week I will talk about him and maybe the Amber app. That depends on you, and you know who you are. Thank you for being there. Subscribe if you like. Join if I'm right. Catch you later. High five and out. I am SubaruSteve Montgomery. That's not the music.